software. It's quite touching. And another aspect that is not fully appreciated is that the division between creating standards and adopting them was put in a slightly different place than had been true in the telephone world and in other areas, in that the definition of the protocols did not carry any regulatory force. They carried only the idea that if you implemented, you would be able to talk to other people, and so it became market-driven instead of regulatory-driven. This has a major effect on the speed at which the internet was able to grow and the speed at which it's able to evolve. So that's sort of my lecture, if you will, my sermon about the basic standards. Here's what the Arpanet looked like in December 1969. 4 nodes in the western part of the United States. The circles are the routers. The squares or rectangles are the host computers. UCLA is down at the bottom. We had a Scientific Data Systems Sigma 7. There was a IBM 360 at University of California, Santa Barbara. There was an SDS 940 at SRI in Menlo Park, and a PDP-10 from Digital Equipment Corporation at the University of Utah in Salt Lake City. 6 months later, cross-country line exists. These lines were 50,000 bits per second, and they were very complicated because they used 12 voice grade lines working together to create that bandwidth. We had very little bandwidth in those days. 50,000 bits per second seemed like an awful lot, but of course it's laughably slow today. By a few years later, it became impossible to draw geographic maps, and you have the Arpanet in March 1977. This is what the router looked like. It was the size of an apartment-sized refrigerator, basically, about as tall as a man and a couple of feet wide and deep in each direction. It was built on a Honeywell 516 computer that had 8,000 words of memory. That's not 8 megabytes, that's 8 kilobytes. That's hardly anything. It had no external disk or storage, very tiny by today's standards. Your smartwatch has more in it than that. You wouldn't be able to use this for anything realistic today. So I emphasize the open architecture, the open access, and the open participation in the IETF. I just want to say that this remains a vibrant and very active process. When I made this slide, I counted 131 active working groups within the IETF. One sometimes thinks that the protocols are all defined and stable. The major ones are, but there's still an awful lot of work that goes on to accommodate new functionality and changes in the technology. The protocols fit what's commonly called an hourglass model, with a large number of protocols above the neck. The neck is the internet protocol, a very simple, amazingly simple protocol that is the glue that holds network of networks together. This is the protocol that allows packets to traverse from one network to another. And then underneath that are all of the protocols that deal with the different technologies for transmission, from radio to wire to fiber and so forth, and many others yet to come. The fact that you can divide things up this way means that there can be an explosion of activities, and as you see on the top, many commercial activities that are built on protocols defined at the top. That's the short story looking back 50 years ago and the impact that it's had on the network today. As I said, the fact that we can have this kind of meeting, the fact that I can talk to you, that I can see you, that you can see me, was nothing but a dream. And those days, transmitting a picture in black and white was beyond the state of the art. Being able to do it in color, being able to do it in video, having speech was all far in the future, and it is an absolute privilege to be here with you today. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Steve. Dream come true then.
Yes.